Hey, welcome back everyone for another quick learning on SAP Business ByDesign. Today is the final and part 4 of our installments on how to use open item management in SAP. So in previous sessions, we looked at how to set up a general ledger account to use open item management. We looked at how to create an open item reference, which is the flag that helps you match current and future debits and credits against each other in those open item accounts, and you do that inside a journal voucher. Then we looked at some reporting and how to clear those items together. And in this final session, we're going to look at and talk a little bit about how open item management, although it is not available through other transactions other than the journal voucher, you can still post things into your open item accounts and then subsequently come in and set an open item reference and clear those items. So it's an unfortunate limitation because if you are maybe working with hundreds of items that you want to, say, post through accounts payable into a prepaid or an accrual account, and then having to go and set the open item reference after the fact, that might not be manageable for you. But if you are just doing something like we are today, looking at employee loans or advances or something small, this works reasonably well. So let's get started. So you recall last week we looked at we were looking at our employee loans account, and we had a couple of people that are still remaining. So Wilson and Houston had some outstanding advances. I believe our Smith had cleared out last week. So let's now look at how we're going to put a transaction or some transactions through the system against this GL account and then append the open item reference after the fact. So just to prep us for looking at this once that's in there, I'm just going to go back to our view. Let's add back in our, actually let's just add our open item reference ID as well. And we're going to put this back in the row. So this will make it a little bit easier to read if you've got a lot of transactions going through. And for this, we're going to do a new type of record. Let's do it through a non-journal voucher. So let's say in this situation, perhaps we are doing some sort of a travel advance to an employee, and we're just going to do a quick payable for them. So for this experiment, it doesn't really matter which supplier I select. We're just going to do everything as of today's dates. So this is going to be a travel advance. And so there's nowhere in here that you can enter an open item reference. So we're selecting our employee loan account. So we're going to just post it as it is. Now if we go back to our GL account and refresh this report, we will see that there is a new entry. So there's our $1,200 payable, but it doesn't have an open item reference assigned to it. So it is allowing you to post to this account without an open item reference. How do we resolve this issue? Well, the same place that we used to clear the transaction in our last video. So we're going to go into our general ledger accounts. And we're going to find the account we're looking at. So our 118600. We're going to use that edit button. We're going to go into the open items on selected account screen. And you can now see that this item is also available in this screen. However, it doesn't have an open item reference. So if we choose this item, we can actually use the assign button, and we can say we want to either assign a new open item reference or an existing one. Since this is a brand new loan to a new employee, we're going to assign a new open item reference. And now it's sitting here with that flag on it. we don't need to do anything else at this point. We're still going to be waiting for the employee to refund us for this advance. Now, in order to put through the clearing transaction of a refund or some sort of a credit to this account, we've already seen how to do that through a journal voucher. Through the journal voucher, you can assign it to an existing reference. But what if you have a similar situation? Perhaps this money comes back directly through some sort of cash repayment, a check directly written to the company by one of the employees. We want to make sure that we have a way that we can put it through so let's say that we get our $500 refunded by Wilson through that type of transaction. So it's not going to be a journal voucher, it has to go through cash. So in that particular case, we're going to go to our liquidity management and we're going to do a new bank payment advice. So it's coming in, we'll call this Wilson Repay. We're going to make this a posting advice. And we're going to post it directly to a GL account. So you don't need to fill in any payment information. This person doesn't even need to be set up as a customer or supplier. You just need to select the bank you're receiving the funds into. And our GL account is going to be our employee loan account, and this time it's a credit. So that was $500. There's no tax implication on this, so we'll set it to non-taxable. And we can just say this is a bank transfer. So when we release this, the system's going to set up the event so that when you do the bank reconciliation, you'll see this $500 needs to be reconciled, which is great. If we look at go back to our report here, we can now see a $500 credit. And we were in the same position as we were with Hoper, where we have this unassigned, so we don't really know who or how this relates in the system. So we're going to once again go back to our general ledger, go into our edit, open items on selected account. And we could do the same thing. We could choose this item, we could assign, and we could say assign to an existing open item reference, and then it's going to invoke this pop-up that lets you choose one of your previous open item references. So that's one way that you can do it. You could also grab both of these items at the same time, and you can see that there are a couple of different options here. You've got the assign, you could also change an open item reference description. So you have a lot of option here to maybe rename something or correct a problem. So quite a few different ways that you can work with these open item references. They're not absolute in the system. So if we do want to assign this to an existing reference, it's going to update it in this field. Once again, going back to our report, we'll see that in our report, but it really hasn't cleared out. And then you can see that I've made a mistake here. So I have referenced this to Hoper instead of to Wilson. So let's go back to our line items and fix this problem. So here we can see that we have that $500 repayment. We want to change it, or we can remove it. So let's remove the assignment. Assign it again. And this time assign it to Wilson. So lots of flexibility to come in here, fix mistakes, rename things if the description didn't make sense based on what was originally put in. You've got a lot of flexibility there. And then just remember that in the end, you ultimately do want to clear the items. So we're going to take our 2 Wilson items, and we're going to choose this clear option. Make sure you backdate it if you want this retroactively based in reports. Click on OK. And if we refresh this screen, we'll see Wilson disappears, and so all that's remaining in this account is the $1,600 to these 2 employees. If we go back to our report, that's also reflected here. So just a quick recap, we had covered in the general ledger accounts how to create a new account, how to create an account as an open item reference. We covered how to create a journal entry voucher, and when you select the account, use this open item reference field to assign a row to an existing open item reference, or use the create button and create a new one. We looked at the report for the GL open item management open items to see what is outstanding in that account and show those references. And then finally, we looked at the line item account through the chart of accounts screen to go in here and manage this, how you do the clearing transactions, how you can assign open item references to items that have been brought in through other transactions, such as supplier invoices, customer invoices, bank payment advices, and then how to finally clear those items against each other. So that includes our 4-part session on open item management in SAP ByDesign. I hope this was useful for you.